Jason's not here, so I've got the control center over here today. So I will be monitoring and controlling the stream. But yeah, so we're back in Texas and been here for this week, and here we are. So
Here we are.
So what are we talking about?
What are we talking about? Well, remember we're talking about our story from the trip back. We already told the story from the trip to Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
But before we left on the trip back, I didn't initially intend for it to happen that very day. But I had told God, I was like, well, you know what, we're going to need an illustration for salt this week. And so if you could provide that, that would be great. And you know what? How God provides those things never looks exactly like you think they might look. I guess you think they look, yeah, definitely different, easier somehow or other. And yeah.
Yep. Oh, am I supposed to?
Oh, you get to tell the story
Okay.
of what happened.
On the trip back?
Yes.
Okay. You're talking about the gas?
Yes.
So we, we go up and down. We've got kind of a route that we do, and there's actually like three really, but two main routes that we've done, and one of them takes you right through Topeka, Kansas, and when we're coming down, I'm a little more familiar with going up than I am coming down, I think, but when we're coming back down, we hit Topeka, and we left Omaha with about half a tank of gas, I guess. Anyway, we were hitting I say a big city, Topeka, but we needed to get gas because it was getting kind of low, and I kept looking for gas stations, and there were a couple, but they weren't they were like local little, like I think it was a Starvin' Marvin and something else. I was like, I want a bigger gas station or a rest truck stop or something. And so I kept looking for one. And usually you see, the sign loves, gas in 20 miles or whatever. And and I thought, well, it's Topeka. There's going to be gas stations every exit. But I missed just those two little, Starvin' Marvin things, and then I was past the exit when I saw Love's on the other side, and there was a Love's, but there was no like sign saying, coming up in next exit or 10 miles or anything, and so we missed it. And I was just like, well, it's Topeka. There's going to be, gas stations and whatever exits we got left, and turns out there wasn't many exits left. Topeka was a lot smaller than I thought it would be, and then we were on the tollway. And I wasn't real worried because, the tollways have the nice, pull-off travel centers with, every so often. And, there's gas and food and everything. And said, we'll just, we'll get to the next. And I think when we started, I can't remember how many miles we had left, but I was thinking, yeah, we're definitely going to see a travel plaza before, we run out of gas. But it kept going, and there was nothing. And I was also noticing there weren't very many exits.
Yeah, basically there were no exits.
Yeah, just this like, oh my goodness, I don't remember it being this barren, So we got down to what? How many miles?
34 miles. And at that point in time, Brett had Aspen looking up the closest gas station.
Right.
Well, first of all, he thought, well, we'll turn around. But there was no place to turn around.
Yeah, I thought, what's the next gas station? And I thought it would be the next exit, or there'll be an exit in 5 miles or something. And she didn't find anything. And that's when I thought, she said something about 40 miles or 38 something miles.
Yeah, it could have been, but whatever it was, at one point in time it was 37 miles to the gas station. But the car said that we had 34 miles worth of gas left.
Right.
And so we've never obviously driven all the gas out, so you don't know exactly how accurate that is.
Right. Yeah. So I was thinking, all right, well, we'll turn around and get back, but then there were no turnarounds and there were no exits to get off of. And I was ready to break the law to turn around, because occasionally they'll have, in between the medians, they'll have, places for police to be able to turn around. And I looked, and they had poles over all of them, so not even police could turn. Nobody could turn around. And what they saw, what I guess Aspen saw first on the map, was the tollway. There was a gas station over there, and a tollway went by it, and then we had to gone up, got off an exit, turn around, and come back. And we just didn't have enough gas to do that, or I didn't want to chance it. And so there were these crossroads that went straight over to it. And like if you could get on one of those, it wasn't 38 miles, it was only 5 miles. And so we started looking for if there was a way to get off. I was thinking even if there was just a grassy bank that wasn't too steep, we would do it. There was one we missed. We didn't see it till, and I don't know that it actually went all the way, but there was a little dirt road that kind of pulled off and looked like it may have gone up to the road, but we were past it before we saw it. So we kept looking for one of those, and then finally we came up on another one where when they do construction, they'll park the vehicles off the side of the highway, and they create these temporary, parking areas for them, and sometimes they'll create a temporary road that goes up to, the little overpass and road, wherever it is they're working on. And there was one of those, and it cut up into somebody's farm in their meadow and then hit the road. And so we got off, not knowing for sure it hit that road. We thought it might. And then we got closer. I was like, oh, there's a fence that runs. I wonder if there'll be a gate. This is somebody's farm. There's going to be a gate. But the gate was open. And probably because, with the construction, they worked it out and they had the access to the road. So we were able to get on that road, and then, yay, we were able to cut across to
5 whole miles.
5 whole miles to the gas station.
It felt so safe.
Yeah, and but sure enough, when we got there, it's this tiny little town because we're in Kansas.
One gas station town.
Yeah, and they had happened to just recently they had started ripping up all their gas tanks in the ground, and they were putting in new ones.
Yeah, the gas pumps were being taken out.
So there was no gas to be had. So that was rather unfortunate. After all that, we got there, and then we go to the one gas station that they're tearing out the gas tanks. So I asked them, when where's the next, because we're about out of gas. Where's the next gas station? And it turned out to be just another 5-7 miles.
It was about 8 miles away, I think. Yeah.
So we went down to that town, and there was we got gas. We actually didn't get gas at the one she said because it was the same brand of, and we ended up seeing a Shell or something.
Yeah, that one came
before, and so we hit that and got gas. And yay, and when we filled it up, I'm sure it was running on fumes because we were way past the, low mark. But it all worked out. We were able to get it, and then we kind of got back on the highway, and we, the GPS. And I think because we're so far out in Kansas, I think it lost connection somehow, but it kept giving me directions. But it somehow had gotten this. It said we were still getting to Fort Worth, but we were going north back toward Nebraska instead of south toward Texas.
And fortunately, Aspen still had her GPS on.
Right.
And she kept saying this. My phone says you need to turn around and go the other way.
Yeah.
And so finally, I told Brett, I was like, "Here's an exit. We need to pull off right here, take a look at stuff, and figure out what's going on."
So I turned my GPS off and restarted it, and sure enough, it's like, "Oh yes, turn around and go back." And I'm like, "Oh, now you tell me."
Yeah, nothing like heading north when you're supposed to be going south and don't even know that.
Yeah. So that's, but we got home. So that's our travel adventure coming home.
Yes, and so my spiritual analogy for that today is that we knew where we were going, and yet and we had a plan to get there, and yet how we got there turned out to be entirely different than we had thought was going to happen. And I thought, you know what? Take for example Joseph. For example, God gave him dreams, and he knew some stuff that was going to happen, and yet I'm guessing how he got there was entirely different than he had ever imagined. And I would say the same for Abraham. God promised him a son. He knew the end result, and yet I can imagine that that wait was entirely different, entirely longer than anything he had ever imagined. Abraham, no doubt, had his idea. Oh, God promised me a son, and it'll have to happen soon, and it didn't at all. And what? Yeah, the disciples as well. Really, all the disciples. Jesus told them what was going to happen, and how they got there was entirely different
Yeah.
than they had believed it would happen.
Yeah. So the journey often looks different than what we imagine when we start. Although it's many times it can be more adventurous than we imagined, and sometimes we don't know or even think we're going to make it, and we do. And
Yes, and God has His promises for us, and that the promises are the end result. We don't necessarily know how we are going to get there, but God promises that that is how it will end.
And in the end, I think we ended up burning an extra 45 minutes on the road, but it was, yeah, it was stressful because, oh, I hope we make it to, that part was stressful for me. I don't want to run out of gas in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, because you know who's in charge of that.
But also, at the same time, we weren't that far away from any point of gas. We were, within 8 miles of one, and it wouldn't have been, a total nightmare. And we also got to, see some of the countryside, so that was kind of cool. So, and in the end, it was sort of an adventure. You just didn't know that at the time. Once we had gas and we're back on the road, you can enjoy the scenery. Okay, but
Yeah.
still, it was a detour that ended up being, kind of interesting to take.
Yes, and when I asked God for an illustration for salt today, I had no idea where that was going.
Yeah. So.
But here we are with our fun story.
All right. Well, that was it. That was our story for today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Salt, and hopefully Aspen will be here, and it'll be a little smoother. So I'm not here watching us. Oh, look, we're on